Draft dodger Donald Trump is slamming a military veteran over his military service. I said yesterday that Donald Trump, I use the term jokingly, but he's kind of been cucked on Twitter by his new chief of staff, John Kelly. He's been almost silent on anything other than retweeting news articles since Kelly took over. No more yesterday. Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal went on CNN and said he was supportive of continuing the Trump-Russia investigation because he believes that there are a lot of signs pointing to collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. It went to Trump, and Trump went bonkers, starting to tweet uncontrollably yesterday, starting off by saying, quote, "Interesting to watch Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut talking about hoax Russian collusion when he was a phony Vietnam con artist." Then Trump went on to tweet. Clearly, Chief of Staff John Kelly couldn't run in quickly enough to knock the phone out of Trump's hand. Never in U.S. history has anyone lied or defrauded voters like Senator Richard Blumenthal. He told stories about his Vietnam battles and conquests, how brave he was, and it was all a lie. He cried like a baby and begged for forgiveness like a child. Now he judges collusion. So it's true that Richard Blumenthal once referenced the days I served in Vietnam, even though he was in the military during the Vietnam War, but he didn't serve in Vietnam. Okay. Blumenthal served as a Marine Reserve. NBC News did an analysis which found no evidence that Blumenthal was bragging about being in battle in Vietnam or that he cried about the controversy during his 2010 campaign. So those are all lies. But yes, Blumenthal did once sort of directly imply that he was in Vietnam and he wasn't, and that was something that was wrong of him to do.
I'm not even sure this has to be mentioned, but that's a completely unrelated ad hominem response to Blumenthal when he goes after you about Trump-Russia and collusion, and he responds about military service.
Totally logically fallacious. But layer two is that, as usual with Trump, everything is hypocrisy. Everything is projection. Donald Trump received 5 deferments from serving in the Vietnam War, presumably at least partially because of the power of his rich father. Trump got 4 deferments for being in school, and then a 5th deferment because he had bone spurs in his heels. He himself referred to that condition as temporary and minor in an interview last year with the New York Times. In a press conference in 2015, Trump forgot which heel had even been diagnosed before his campaign said it was actually both of his heels that had bone spurs. This is a bottom of the barrel pond scum hypocrite. Hillary's emails, he mishandles secret intelligence and gives it to the Russians. Obama's bad for playing golf. He plays way more golf than Obama. Obama's bad for vacationing. He's on track to spend in year 1 of his presidency more than Obama spent in his 8 years in the Oval Office on vacations. The jobs numbers are all fake under Obama, points to those same BLS numbers to point to how great he is. Everything with Trump is a double standard, hypocritical projection.
And here's the kicker, I think. He went on the Howard Stern program in 1997 and talked about this era in his life. And he said that avoiding STDs was his own personal Vietnam and that he was a brave soldier.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just above and beyond.
It is a consistent disrespect. And actually, I think disrespect would imply that he actively thinks about our veterans. It's more an indifference, right? The claiming that he was making these donations to veterans charities when it was actually dubious or there's no evidence whatsoever that he actually did. The use of veterans merely as political puppets and ploys for optics during the campaign. It's not that I think Trump doesn't respect the military. He probably doesn't. It's more that he just is totally indifferent to the sacrifice of our service members.
Or that John McCain wasn't a war hero because he was captured and Trump prefers people who weren't captured. It's also interesting how you bring up Kelly there because you'd think that he'd be able to really get his hands on in the White House and stop, the mess that's going on, stop Trump from tweeting.
Can't someone remove the app from Trump's phone?
And also, he was a Marine Corps general. So this is hitting him twice as hard, I think.
I think that you're absolutely right about that. And once again, it's Donald Trump making allegations that he himself is actually the one who should be explaining why didn't he serve in Vietnam rather than talking about Dick Blumenthal. And as Pat astutely pointed out, it's got nothing to do with Trump-Russia. Whatever Blumenthal said previously about Vietnam service, it is totally unrelated to Robert Mueller's grand jury impaneling in the Trump-Russia investigation. Send me your thoughts about this. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. We'll be back after this. Today's episode is made possible in part by Blue Sky Binary. There are millions of Forex traders around the world, and 80% of them lose money. And I actually have been dabbling in Forex trading since I was like 16 years old. And I've lost some money doing it. And usually when people lose money in this, it is because they either lack the appropriate knowledge, they might be relying on others, auto traders, or other traders they follow instead of themselves. Sometimes people get emotional or take bigger risks than they should, or not understand or follow proper money management rules. And Blue Sky Binary's education course sort of helps to mitigate every single one of those risk factors. They're a leading financial education and tech company focused on Forex. They've got senior traders with real trading experience, offering a structured and self-paced course that you can take, video on demand, online tests, one-on-one education sessions, and access to their community of traders are all part of that course. David Pakman Show viewers and listeners can register right now to get a free 1-week trial at blueskybinary.com/David. That includes access to their training platform and a session with a senior trader to go over the basics. If you want to continue after that, it's $99.99 a month. You can stop or resume at any time. Once again, that's blueskybinary.com/DAVID.